Call to order the May 12, 2026 concurrent joint meetings of the City Council of the City of Commerce, Joint Powers Financing Authority, and the governing body of the successor agency to the Commerce Community Development Commission. Will the interim city clerk please call roll?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Altamirano.
Here.
Councilmember Argumedo.
Here.
Councilmember Rebollo.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Lainez.
Here. Okay, great. We have a quorum. If the members of the audience could please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by City Manager Ernie Hernandez, and remain standing for the invocation led by Councilmember Argumedo.
Please join me in honoring our flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Let's begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. As we come together tonight, we're reminded of the responsibility we share in shaping the future of our city. Commerce has long been built on hard work, opportunity, and a strong sense of community. As we move forward, may we also leave room for creativity and prioritize the needs of our city, recognizing that growth is not only measured in progress, but in what we build together. May our efforts this evening support a strong economy, thoughtful decisions, and a future that reflects both purpose and possibility for all who call commerce home. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hernandez and Councilmember Argumedo. We will now move on to appearances and presentations. So the first item is a recognition and tribute to the United States Armed Forces. We have a presentation that will be given by our Parks and Recreation Director, Adolfo Marquez.
Oh, here we go. Good evening. Tonight's presentation will be made by our Sports Travel Coordinator, Anthony Almeida.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and esteemed guests. Tonight, we proudly gather to honor the 6 branches of the United States Armed Forces and recognize the brave men and women who have dedicated their lives to protecting our nation and preserving our freedoms. On behalf of the Parks and Recreation Department and in proud partnership with our City Council, I am honored to be here this evening and be a part of this presentation. A little history. Armed Forces Day was established in 1949 by President Harry S. Truman following the unification of the military branches under the Department of Defense. The day was created to bring Americans together in appreciation and support of all those serving the United States military. Since then, Armed Forces Day has served as a national reminder of the courage, sacrifice, and dedication shown by our service members and their families. Tonight, we proudly recognize the 6 branches of the United States Armed Forces. The United States Army, the nation's oldest and largest military branch, protects our country through land-based operations and global readiness. The United States Marine Corps is known for its rapid response, strength, and unwavering tradition of courage and discipline. The United States Navy safeguards our nation across the seas, protecting freedom and supporting security around the world. The United States Air Force defends our skies through advanced air and space operations, innovation, and technology. The United States Space Force, the newest military branch, protects America's interests in space and supports critical communication and satellite systems. The United States Coast Guard protects our coastlines and waterways through maritime safety, rescue missions, and national security operations. Today's Armed Forces Day tribute is an opportunity to thank all those who have served, continue to serve, and sacrifice for our country. At this time, we invite everyone to direct their attention to the screen for a short tribute video honoring our armed forces. reflect on the bravery, sacrifice, and service of our nation's heroes, we now ask everyone to please stand for a moment of silence in honor of those who have been killed in action, those who remain missing in action, and all veterans and service members who gave their lives defending our freedoms. Thank you. You may be seated. The City of Commerce invites the community to attend our Memorial Day weekend events at Rosewood Park featuring America's Freedom Tribute and the Traveling Vietnam Wall, taking place May 22nd through May 26, 2026. Events include the Wall Caravan on Friday, May 22nd at 8 a.m., departing from the Commerce Casino and Hotel, arriving at Commerce City Hall. The opening ceremony on Friday evening at 6 p.m. The candlelight ceremony on Saturday, May 23rd at 8 p.m. And the Memorial Day farewell ceremony on Monday, May 25th at 12:30 p.m. The replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall will remain open to the public 24 hours a day throughout the weekend. We hope you will join us as we come together to honor, remember, and pay tribute to our nation's heroes. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your presentation, Anthony. And the City of Commerce has the great honor of hosting the Traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall, as Anthony just mentioned. So for all members of the community, those who are out there watching, if you could please join us on Friday for the opening ceremony, and we'll have the wall here at the Rosewood Park baseball field throughout the Memorial Day weekend. So, and to those also listening, you know, it's my true belief that the United States of America is the greatest country in the world, and that is in large part due to the bravery and sacrifice of those who have fought for our freedom. So thank you to all of the veterans out there watching and in our community, and to the families who have lost someone in combat or in service. Thank you as well, and my deepest thoughts and sympathies. Okay, so moving on, we will go to item number 2, and that is the Public Works Week proclamation. And I believe we will have a presentation by our Public Works Director.
This is Shahid Abbas, Director of Public Works. Mayor and the Council, you have a proclamation in front of you to read for the public channel.
Okay, definitely. A proclamation of the City Council of the City of Commerce designating May 17th through the 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructures, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, safety, and quality of life. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated public works professional at all levels of government and the private sector. And whereas public works professionals are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, solid waste systems, public facilities, and other infrastructure essential for our residents. And whereas it is in the public interest for the residents, civic leaders, and youth in the City of Commerce to gain knowledge and maintain a progressive interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs and projects in our communities. And whereas the City of Commerce Public Works Department and its dedicated professionals continue to serve the residents and businesses of Commerce through the maintenance and improvement of streets, parks, public facilities, and other infrastructure. And whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association. Now, therefore, the City of Commerce City Council does hereby designate the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week, and urges all residents and businesses to recognize the substantial contributions public works professionals make towards protecting our health, safety, and quality of life. We thank them for their service. Their dedication and skill are making a difference. Passed, approved, and adopted this 12th day of May 2026 by myself, Kevin Lainez, the Mayor of the City of Commerce, as well as the rest of the members here of the City Council.
Thank you, Mayor and the council. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Director Abbas, and thank you and your team for all your hard work throughout our community. Public Works is not an easy task, but it is essential, right, for all of the reasons that I just mentioned in the proclamation. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, Public Works is really what impacts people's quality of life here in our community. So again, thank you to you and your team for doing a wonderful job. Okay, so moving on to item number 3, we have the East Side Transit Corridor Phase 2 project update. And we have members of Metro here in our chambers this evening. So good to see you all.
Mayor and the council, this is again Shahid Abbas, Director of Public Works. Before I invite Metro staff to give the presentation, I'll just give you a brief background on the project and the city concerns which were expressed to Metro last year. Can we have the first slide, please? The next one. Yes, please. So the Metro Gold Line Extension Project is a 4.7 miles starting from Atlantic to Green Boulevard. Approximately 2.21 miles is in the City of Commerce, 1.31 miles is underground, and approximately 1 mile is aerial above ground, which is from Saybrook to Maple Avenue. There is an underground station at Citadel, and there is a possibility of a maintenance facility either in Montebello on Yates Avenue north of Garfield Avenue or in Commerce between Saybrook Avenue and the Washington Boulevard. The exact location is still not been finalized. And the project will reduce Washington Boulevard from 3 lanes each directions to 2 lanes each directions. And the aerial alignment will transition to street level in Montebello on Washington Boulevard, just east of Maple Avenue. Can we go to the next slide, please? Mayor and the council, last year in June, staff reviewed the draft traffic report prepared by Metro to analyze the impacts of Metro Gold Line Extension Project on the city streets, particularly on Washington Boulevard and adjacent properties. And staff offered following comments to Metro. The report did not have all the necessary adequate information required to analyze the impact of truck volumes on Washington Boulevard. Therefore, Metro was requested to reassess the truck traffic and associated impacts on Washington Boulevard and surrounding streets. Since the city has sufficient truck traffic during midday, the staff also requested Metro to analyze the impacts of midday peak traffic on the city streets. Washington Boulevard was reduced from 3 lanes to 2 lanes each direction. Center turn lane where present was removed. Left turns at most of the intersections were prohibited, along with left turn into and out of adjacent properties. These restrictions resulted into excessive delays and congestions along Washington Boulevard, forcing traffic, especially truck traffic, to seek alternate routes. The draft report correctly identified the behavior but did not identify the alternate routes. Staff therefore requested Metro to identify the possible alternate routes and their feasibility of safely handling additional heavy truck traffic. Due to the turn restrictions, staff also requested Metro to analyze the impact on adjacent businesses and identify the possible mitigation measures. Staff noticed significant difference between the reported results and the output from computer models. Metro was requested to review the model and validate the results against the actual field conditions. The train is expected to run at a frequency of 5 minutes headway. The impact on local streets from these frequencies were not included in the report. Metro was requested to consider the impact from this frequency onto the local streets. Finally, given the above possible impacts onto the city streets, especially Washington Boulevard, Metro was requested to consider underground alignment as an alternate to the proposed aerial segment within the city. Metro considered the city's request and found it cost prohibitive. Since then, Metro and city staffs are collaboratively working together to address the city's concern, and Metro has initiated another study to address the city's concern. With this, I shall hand over the presentation to Metro staff. We have with us today Jill Liu, Senior Director, Countywide Planning and Development, LA Metro.
Right. Good evening. Good evening. Hi, this is Jill Liu, Senior Director with LA Metro Planning. Good to be here today. Very pleased to present to you also my team members here. I'm going to introduce them.
Good evening, Lorena Sanchez, Community Relations at Metro.
Hi, good evening, City Council. Rene Coronel, Deputy Executive Officer with Program Management.
Thank you. So this would be a joint presentation between primarily me and Lorena, and we also have our program management, our expert here to answer any technical questions. So thank you for having us here today. We would like to give you a brief update on the status of the East Side Phase 2 project. We have a brief presentation. We'll start with that. So you go to the next slide, please. Can you try? Okay. So it is Metro's plan, a 15-year and 40-year plan to continue expanding our system countywide. And this is to deliver what we have committed to address the 2016 Measure-M program that was voter approved. And in the last several years, you can see this is the list of station openings. We have the K-line that in the Mid-City Crenshaw LAX opening October 2022, Regional Connector 2023, the AMC station right next to LAX. Once the People Mover opens at LAX, this will provide direct transfer to the airport from our metro system. Last year, 2025, we opened up the A line all the way to Pomona, and then just last weekend, we opened up the D line, Section 1, connecting downtown Los Angeles to Beverly Hills, near La Cienega, K-Town. Next year, we're going to be opening up D line Section 2 all the way to Beverly Hills in Central City, and then by the Olympic 2028, we will open up Section 3 all the way to Westwood, UCLA. And we have a plan to continue expanding the rail further east. It is our goal to build this East Side Phase 2 project. We would like to provide a 1C ride connecting City of Commerce, the gateway cities, East LA, all the way to downtown LA and the countywide regional network. And as you can see, I have the icons for the World Cup, the FIFA World Cup's coming next month. And then we have the Olympic and the Super Bowl coming in the next 2 years. There are many, many mega events that the resident of LA would like to be part of that and join a lot of fun activities. And we have prepared our transportation and shuttle plans to take our riders to where they need to be. And we would like to include the East Side Phase 2 community to that celebration as well. Next slide, please. So a little bit background for the East Side Phase 2 project. This is a 9-mile extension from East LA to Whittier, as Shaheen mentioned. This project will be built in 2 phases. Phase 2A will be a 4.7-mile extension from East LA to Montebello with an underground station in the City of Commerce. And Phase 2B would be a further extension, another 4.3-mile from Montebello all the way to Whittier with 3 more stations. So right now we're focusing on designing this 4.7-mile IOS, initial operating segment. And then we are reaching a major milestone this month, and that's why we're coming back here. A year and a half ago, we hosted public meetings in the City of Commerce next door at the Senior Center. We shared with the public that we are working on the federal environmental document. And after a year, we're ready to share that document with the city and the public here for review. We've been working very closely with the Federal Transit Administration on this project. As you recall, Mayor was also at our meeting in January 2025 supporting this project. And so we'll also be asking for your review of the federal NEPA document that will be coming out by the end of this month. And we'll also be hosting public hearings in June. Lorena will share a little bit more information on that. This project has been cleared under CEQA in 2024. So what we need is federal funding and state funding for this project. Next slide, please. I want to mention this project has a lot of benefits. What we say on that side, that's okay. Yeah. This project, I want to mention one thing is this project does connect to the Citadel that has 17 million visitors a year. Major trip generator. It also has 8,000 employees in that area we would like to connect to, and lots of residents who live in Commerce, work in Commerce, and visiting Commerce that we would like to provide access to. This project brings 10,000 transit riders to our system. That means removing 8,000 cars from Washington Boulevard, from the I-5 freeway, the 605. It's going to improve the traffic congestion in this area, really improving the quality of life of this community. And this is consistent with your 2016 strategic plan that the city has published. Next slide, please. And what I want to mention is this project, the underground station is going to be on Smith Way, right behind the Citadel, right next to the Disney store, where the parking lot is. The station will have state-of-the-art design with our Kiddo Park, sustainable canopy, sustainable lighting, landscaping, that really make this an iconic station for City of Commerce. That would be providing access to riders who want to take transit instead of driving to the Citadel. We all know how busy it is during the holiday season, how hard it is to find parking. We even have to have off-site parking lot at Citadel. And this will help us to bring more people to Commerce, create more job and economic opportunity for the city. They also create jobs. We're estimating this project will create more than 10,000 jobs, and then $3 billion of economic activity throughout the region. A little bit more information is we're also looking at refinement to the maintenance yard. Previously, in the final yard that was approved by the board, we were looking at 39-acre lot. And right now, based on the refinement and coordination with the city, we were able to identify 3 sites, which will include 2 sites in Montebello and then 1 site in Commerce, which will be a lot smaller than what we had looked at from the final EIR. And more information about the maintenance storage facility will be published in the upcoming federal NEPA document. We would like to share that with the public and the city at the June public hearings. So the cost for this project is about $7.9 billion. Right now, we have committed about $3 billion local funds from the Measure M, Measure R, the voter sales tax revenue. There is a funding gap about $4 billion, and so we would like the city's support to go after state grant. We are going after the state grant, the Turk-P Transit Intercity Capital Program, Cycle A, that's due on May 18. I want to, on behalf of Metro, thank you for the city's support letter for us to go after state grant for this project. That would tremendously help us to secure the fund we need to build this project. I could say on the slide a little bit about this site is, I want to mention, during the public hearings, the meetings last year, we heard a lot of questions about traffic, parking, ADA, construction, and we are working very closely with Shahid's team, Public Works Director's team, to address traffic management needs during construction. The station will be designed to address ADA, make sure it's high quality for all users. Next slide, please. And this is just a summary of the federal NEPA schedule. As I mentioned, that we're going to be releasing the draft NEPA document by the end of May and host public hearings. This would be a very quick 30-day review based on the federal funding schedule. So we're hoping to receive comments by the end of June, and we will report back to the Metro Board in summertime, either July or September, and then present staff recommendation for the maintenance storage site facility. The goal is to finalize the NEPA document by fall this year, and that will allow us to go after the federal funding. And then after that point, that will be the time we can start conversation on real estate, negotiation, or any utility adjustments in the area. And during the NEPA process, we have hosted many pop-ups and then several rounds of meetings with key stakeholders. We have hosted a total of almost 200 stakeholder briefings over the last 1 year or so. I'm gonna invite Lorena to come on stage to share a little bit more about our outreach efforts. Lorena, please. Oh, actually, I have one more slide. You can go to the next one. So actually, before we talk about outreach, there's another thing I want to thank the city for. The city did provide a permit for us to conduct pre-construction survey. The purpose of the pre-construction survey is to understand the condition of the soil and the underground utilities, whether they're up to date, so we can update our record to reduce the construction risk, and then so that we can build the project quickly. So Lorena, please.
Thank you, Jill. Next slide, please. So my colleague Jill mentioned this project has a long history of engaging community, and it's really important for us at Metro to reach community residents, stakeholders early on. And Jill just mentioned that about a year and a half ago, we were here at Commerce and different cities throughout the initial operating segment to let them know where we continue to be, where this project is. We're in the environmental process still, and to anticipate that, we are entering the NEPA process and what that means for residents. And so that gave us a great opportunity to get early on feedback from your residents and ensure that in all of our collateral and our future meetings, we are addressing those issues and concerns. And so we did have 3 in-person meetings here, including in Commerce, and a virtual meeting for folks that are not able to make it in person. We want to make sure that information is accessible to everybody. And some of the topics you'll see on the slide, and I won't go through all of them, but I'll just mention them, are the ADA accessibility. We had questions about and input about the alignment, questions about construction. We know that's really important here in the city. Funding questions, questions about parking. Folks want to ensure that we are adding parking in our stations. We had questions and dialogue about the maintenance and storage facility, property acquisitions, and safety is always something that's a part of always addressing to the community. It's the most important thing we're working on at Metro. Next slide. And so how to reach community, we develop a very comprehensive outreach plan. We want to reach as many stakeholders, as many residents, talk to staff. My colleague just talked about how there is constant coordination with the city, and I just want to acknowledge the city and your staff because they've been very responsive, very supportive. We just got a letter of support for our grants, and so that continues to be important to Metro as we continue to work together and closely in partnership with the city. But this is a slide before you. We pull out our toolkit and find different ways to reach community. We have a website dedicated with lots of information, project phone line. We answer emails, calls, and schedule any calls with stakeholders, including any potential property impacted owners. So I did bring some of these project business cards because if folks need to have questions about this project, we want to make sure that they know how to contact us. So we are delivering flyers, we're delivering these to your libraries and city halls to make sure that other collateral is accessible to your residents. Next slide, please. We've had rail tours. We've hosted walk audits with our planning and public works experts to get input from community. And we continue to brief stakeholders, residents, and so we will continue to do this throughout every phase of the project. Next slide, please. And so we are here today to, talk about next steps, invite this council, invite your staff, invite residents, members of the commerce community to join us. We will be hosting public hearings. My colleague Jill mentioned that we will have a 30-day comment period. We hope that the city will review the environmental assessment, provide feedback, comments, all very important. We encourage we want to continue to work with your city. We are providing a digital toolkit to help us spread the word, and we're making it very accessible, easy for residents to provide feedback. And so how do you get back to us? How do residents get back to us if they have any questions? We do encourage everybody to email us, let us know that we have your permission to send you project notifications. We will be sending information and dropping off flyers. We also do canvassing. We work really closely with community-based partners in the community to make sure that we are reaching folks through collateral, through word of mouth at local events. So we're going to continue to do that, but on this slide, we will be hosting meetings, and the meeting that will be taking place and encourage everybody to attend will be happening Wednesday, June 10th, here at the Senior Citizen Center. So we welcome everyone to attend, and we'll continue to spread the word about these meetings. They're in Spanish. We provide kids' corner, snacks, and really hope that folks come out to provide their comments. And this concludes my presentation. On behalf of Metro, I want to thank everybody for your continued support, your continued partnership, and happy to answer any questions you might have.
Lorena, Jill, and Renee, thank you all for your presentation this evening. Does the City Council have any questions?
I do.
Councilmember Argumedo?
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up. In your entire presentation, I didn't hear anything related to the issues that were raised by our director. Do you have a response to that?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
There was some issues that he raised. One was the telegraph corridor. You're doing away with some lanes, I believe, because the train will be coming up from below ground. It'll be coming up to the surface. And I believe you're going to be removing a lane, is it? How many lanes are you going to be taking out there?
I think on Washington, we're removing the center lane, right?
I think it was 2 lanes. And
I think I have to check the design because it's still preliminary, but I guess the way we make it move is it's only 1 lane is removed, but I have to check back the design and get back.
he made reference to the fact that you guys were working to address this issue, and I'm wondering as to what is it that you'll be doing? What are the options that you'll be taking into consideration? At
Yeah.
what phase will you be addressing that? I think it's significant, and only because of the different projects we have ongoing right now on Telegraph and Washington. We have a Chick-fil-A, we have an In-N-Out coming soon right around the corner here. And obviously with those types of projects, you know the type of traffic that generates. So, I'm concerned that we're going to have a similar situation that we have in other areas, like Firestone.
Yeah, so Shahid, we've been working with Shahid Grayley. We're addressing all the concerns. He does bring up comments and we make sure we respond. We did create a VISA model, which basically does traffic counts, and it simulates the traffic in the before condition and an after condition. So we had a meeting last week with the city. He brought up his concerns, and I think right now we're in the process of addressing them. We still have to tweak the model because we're starting this project in a couple of years, so we're trying to make sure the data is up to date, making sure, and like you said, there are upcoming developments in the city. Those concerns we do take into account, and we do try to move our construction and our schedule around to accommodate that.
Okay, no, I mean, we'd be very interested in hearing that because the impacts could be significant to the flow of traffic in those areas. And I mean, already it's bad. You have Costco, you have the In-N-Out, you can have Chick-fil-A. That area is going to be problematic. And I just envision it getting worse with now, I believe it's on on Garfield, correct? Where it's going to come up, correct? Yeah, so I'm just wondering what options, what can we do with regards to that?
Yeah, so this is a public works project. It's going to require the city's buy-off, so we're not going to start construction until we get the full buy-off from the city. In terms of seasonal periods, we do take that into account, and we're going to let our contractor know. For example, we've met with the Citadel outlets. They've made it very clear from November to December that is our peak period. So in our contracts, we're going to try to stay away from working on Smithway during that time, because the last thing we want to do is block that street because people do take it back to get out. So it's stuff like that where we're trying to implement moratoriums on our contract in order we don't have stacking of projects. So it's something that we typically do on such large projects. It is dynamic on our end, and we have the flexibility to move stuff around.
Great, thank you, I appreciate your comments. Shahid, were you going to add anything to that?
Mayor and the council, as a result of our comments which we gave them, the Metro has a new traffic engineer board and they changed their methodology. They are now using a different simulation model program, which is state-of-the-art program, and they recollected the data and they are working collaboratively. We just had a meeting last week and they showed me a draft simulation. So they made a lot of progress, so will we be able to address all the comments? Possibly not, but most of the comments I believe will be addressed. And also on the traffic control plan during the construction, they are sharing their plan with us, and we are commenting as we go along, and they are making adjustment to the plan, and we are involving the Citadel also, so they can also view the plan and make a comment on that. So I'm personally very satisfied with the collaboration with the Metro on this project.
Great, thank you, appreciate your feedback. All of you, thank you for the presentation. Mayor, thank you. Concludes my comments.
Thank you for Thank you for your comments, Councilman. I think some very good comments here. I looked at the concerns at the beginning of the presentation when Director Abbas was going through it, and the one thing I really am concerned about is just the vehicle lane reduction, right, on our main corridors. As the councilman mentioned, we do have significant development in those corridors, right? And I know where you're coming from, Renee. You're saying, hey, we'll work around any construction schedules. But I think the bigger concern is, are we going to exacerbate the traffic issue that currently exists, right? And the truth is, and Shahid did mention this in his first slide, we have a significant amount of truck traffic, right? So those aren't candidates for mass transportation, right? They're not going to hop onto the metro. So what can we do to mitigate just like traffic issues in those main corridors? And I hope that's something that you all can consider as you move forward with your design, just because it will impact our community pretty significantly. Great presentation, though. I am looking forward to the Metro East Side Transit Corridor project. I think it's going to infuse a lot of economic vitality into our city. So that is the bright side. One question, you mentioned that you have about $3 billion in funding already committed. That's about 40% of the total project cost. And of course, after the NEPA document, that now enables you to go after more funding, right? So that's great. But in the event that funding is not available, like where does $3 billion get us, right? I know there's the NEPA document, there's a design, there's a community outreach, there's various phases even before the build, right? So what does $3 billion get us to, is my question.
So right now, we're committed to have more than $3 billion. We do have $3 billion from cycle one of the Metro M funding. Should state and federal funding got impacted, because we all heard that there's, funding issue at the state and the federal government level. But we're sending out advocates to DC to continue advocating for this project, and we'll go after every federal and state grants that we could get for this project. I want to mention Eastside Phase 2 is the full pillar, the top priority for Metro. This is our focus for funding for the next several years. So really hoping we could have full funding agreement for this project by 2030. That is our goal for this project. Should the federal funding get impacted in the upcoming years, we will try to discuss internally. We will have to reprioritize our project, and so we will continue moving forward on this project. In terms of what we can build with the $3 billion that we will have, we could focusing on maybe this Atlantic Station, the real estate that we need around each of the 4 stations, continue starting the tunnel boring activities. We may need to phase the initial 4.7 mile into maybe focusing on the tunnel boring, the relocation of the East LA station, and Citadel Station is definitely our #1 focus because it's really close to our tunnel boring activity. And then I think the segment in Montebello is where we might need to continue to wait for funding, should there be any delay on the federal side.
Okay, thank you for that. Just because
the
I know
Commerce Station is our focus.
Okay, that's great to hear. And just a question that popped into my head, right, because I know there are some challenges with obtaining federal funding right now with the current administration. So,
Honorable Mayor, if I may, the other issue that's been kind of in transition is the local match contribution, right? And so I think right now, some of the expenditures that the city's already undertaken, including the regional expenditures and a commitment to seek funding, is kind of how we're moving forward. But that's an important issue for us and anybody else being affected by this. So we'll keep the city council up to speed with regards to how that changes and what the commitment is, because obviously I've expressed the city's concern in that this is a regional project, but the local match is coming only from those cities that are being touched. And so that viewpoint needs to change. And then for the folks here tonight, that's outside of their control, but they understand the issue.
understood. And I'm aware that that's a battle that we're currently fighting as well. So, but last question, I don't think I heard a timeline for phase 2A. Is it still 2035? I think that's what I heard.
Yeah. So the phase 2A, which is the first 4.7 mile alignment that has the Commerce Station, right now the opening, the groundbreaking for stations in Guyward would be by 2029. fall 2029, and the opening for revenue services will be anytime between 2035 and 2037, pending funding availability. So right now, we're on track for that schedule.
Understood, understood. Thank you again. Any further questions from the council? No? Okay, thank you again for being here. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, great. We will now go ahead and move on to public comment. At this time, members of the public who wish to address the City Council on any agenda item or any matter not on the agenda and have submitted a speaker slip, I will call you to the podium to speak. Please know that there is a 3-minute time limit, and I will call you in the order in which the cards were received. So first, I would like to call to the podium Ms. Veronica Chavez.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council, council members. My name is Veronica Chavez again, and I live 27 feet away from the Modelo project. I'm here once again to address multiple concerns. And for the record, I have documented emails dating back to last year raising concerns before this project was approved. Our homes are unquestionably sensitive receptors under CEQA. Yet the EIR completely omitted Vista del Rio residents at 27 feet as sensitive receptors. This omission is not minor, it's a material CEQA defect that should have been corrected during the conditions of approval. Because Vista del Rio homes were omitted, the draft EIR never required vibration sensors, CEQA requirement setbacks, or pre- and post-construction surveys. When the city changed the project footprint by selling Veterans Park, the EIR became outdated. Yet no updated analysis were required. That failure left our homes unprotected. As a result, the contractor has used heavy equipment and demolition methods that would never have been permitted had our homes been properly identified. Our homes have paid the price with structural damage, safety concerns, repeated habitability impacts, and disturbing loss of peace and quiet. And I want to respectfully direct this to City Manager Ernie Hernandez. I have sent numerous emails documenting these issues. And to you, Mr. Hernandez, and you have repeatedly failed to respond, failed to take the matter seriously, and failed to address any of our concerns. Yet you have taken the time to provide misleading statements, including the claim that this is not a city project. That statement is factually incorrect. The city approved the project, the city issued the permits, the city is the CEQA lead agency, and the city is responsible for enforcing every mitigation measure. Mr. Hernandez, you cannot distance yourself from the very project your own departments authorized. It ultimately took shaking equivalent to a 6.0 earthquake on May 2nd and video evidence of the conditions we suffer daily for the city to pause the project. That is not normal construction. That is failure of oversight, a failure of monitoring, and a failure of leadership. Mr. Hernandez has still not released the raw PP logs that I have requested, calibration records or sensor documentation that I formally requested 4 weeks ago, records that you personally committed to providing on April 28th. During the council meeting, you commented that the developer is following guidelines. Without this data, you cannot credibly claim the residents are safe, that the developer is following guidelines. Can I say my last request?
Sure.
I require independent verification of monitoring system, release all raw PPV data, calibration logs, and sensor documentation. Provide a written oversight plan for the compaction and platform demolition phase. Provide a clear timeline of this project, and direct the city manager to comply with the CEQA transparency requirements. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mrs. Chavez. Next up is Mark Chavez. If you could just please come to the podium.
Hello, Mayor. And City Councilman, my name is Mark Chavez, and how can I follow that outstanding performance by my wife? I must say, Vista Del Rio, I am one of the residents there, and we reside 27 feet away. 27 feet. How can an omission of such significance be overlooked by the city and the city manager? It's clear that we weren't accounted for as critical receptors. There's other homes that are accounted for as critical receptors, but we are not, and I would like to ask why. Furthermore, I would like to ask the city manager, what is he doing to rectify this gap? I've asked him on a number of occasions to bring me back to talk about it, to discuss it. I've yet to receive a call back, which, by the way, is a response. I'm very disappointed in the leadership, and I'm just extremely frustrated at the moment because every week until this recent pause, right, we've had experienced shaking that's just unsustainable. Unsustainable for our health, unsustainable for our homes. We have residents that run out in the middle of the street asking what's going on because they think it's an earthquake. And yet Adrian is supposedly working in guidelines, working in compliance. Is that what you said? Impossible. For the last minute and a half, I would like to hand it over to my daughter, who is a student at Cal Poly Pomona studying her master's program. Gabby?
Thank you. Yes, so my name is Gabriela Ortega Chavez. I live with my parents who've already spoken before me, but just to add on to what they've mentioned so far. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I live with them 27 feet away from the Modelo construction site. My bedroom window directly facing the demolition and heavy equipment area. And while I appreciate that the urban development is a sign of growth, the current execution of this project is severely compromising the health and professional stability and property integrity of long-standing residents, including my family. And I'm requesting an immediate intervention regarding the high-impact backyard construction. First off, while there is a current pause, if we are to return to the current 7 a.m. start time for heavy machinery on Saturday, that would be unsustainable. As my dad mentioned, I commute a long distance to Cal Poly Pomona and surrounding areas throughout the week for my full-time position MBA program, so Saturday is the only window for physical and mental recovery. Being woken up by jarring industrial-grade noise at dawn is just not an inconvenience. It's a health and wellness issue that sets a negative tone for the entire weekend, which is the time I set aside for rest and to complete my graduate level work. So respectfully, I do ask for that time to either be removed from Saturdays or at least decreased to 10 a.m. start time. And I do also ask, as my parents have, for the information to be released to them regarding the CEQA guidelines. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Gabby and Mark. Next, I have Susana Larios.
So just to echo what Veronica and Mark said, we got
I think when she granted.
It's good.
Let's reset her time.
Please. My name is Susana Larios, and I also live in Avenida Aguascalientes. And so when we got the 2021 Environmental Impact Report, which was 3,472 pages, we had to figure out what the impact of our community was. So I quickly used something I taught my daughter during COVID, which was to use Control F, which is you put Control F, you put a word, and it tells you the document how many times it shows up. So the first word I put was Avenida, which is the street I live in, and it came out 7 times. And those 7 times was just, 6 times was just the location in conjunction to the Modelo project, and 1 time was just the label of the map. Then I put Control F and I put Zindel, and it came out at least 118 times. Same thing, sometimes it was the address, but there was many mentions. There was was mitigation efforts to the point several times where the city or the report referred to getting them new windows. Several times, okay? Then I also did Control F and I put cool drive, right? Same thing. All they had was, they showed up at least 3 or 4 times and it was just in conjunction to the building or to the project. So as Veronica and my neighbors have talked about, there was no plan, no mitigation effort, no plan for our community. Our community was completely ignored. I had to pause for a second and I had to wonder, did our city really just ignore us? Did they really ignore our community? Did they really approve this project and look the other way and put our property in harm's way for monetary gain? Were we the collateral damage so that this project could move forward? Because it was really gross negligence. Like, how can you ignore all of these houses? Seriously, go do the report, do the Control F, and you're gonna see, and you're just like, what the heck? Because my backyard looks like Armageddon, and it felt like an earthquake that May 2nd. My daughter was trying to study for AP US history, and we could not study. And on top of that, the next part is I'm worried about them digging below the gym. My brother is a geologist, and he's telling me if they dig below 27 feet, my house is screwed. Because what's gonna happen to those retaining walls once the builders take them off? That's gonna affect my property. That's gonna affect all of our properties, and that's something, as a city, I hope you guys have Modelo come and address the city and talk about that. What's gonna happen once they start digging down? Because there's no plan in the environmental impact report that deals with the mitigation efforts of our houses. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Larios. Next up, I have Lila Leon.
Good evening. My name is Lila Leon, and I live at 5617 Mission Way. And today I'd like to request that one of you pull item number 7 off the consent calendar, and that's the budget. Currently, you have a $1.8 million deficit that the people here in the council chambers and those at home would like to know how you, the council, and you, the city manager, are going to, I don't know, discuss how we're going to go through this without, and if the PC measure passes, it won't take into effect until next quarter. That's one. Number 2, you're celebrating the armed forces and you're bringing in the Vietnam Wall. But meanwhile, I've requested not once, not twice, but 3 times, where is the plaque that was hanging in the in the Veterans Park area that was supposed to be stored in the warehouse? Well, it's disappeared. They can't find it. And I'm requesting that someone do their due diligence and look for it. And if they can't find it, go to the archives, get all the names of our brothers, uncles, our sons that fought in the Vietnam War and came back, like my brother who got a Purple Heart, and that's another whole conversation item, Ivan, with your Purple Heart, city, but yet you never requested anybody to come forward that had a Purple Heart so that we could have it displayed. But I would like to request that it be reconstructed and ready for when the Veterans Park is, I don't know, 4 years from now, but somehow maybe put into the library so that all of us who had brothers, uncles, sons, can look at that and remember that they fought for us back in the day. And last but not least, I hear my neighbors, because my son and my daughter-in-law live right across from Mark and Veronica. And their dog doesn't want to go outside to pee because she's so scared. The ground shakes. But you let the developer go on for 15, 20 minutes at the last council meeting. You didn't stop the clock at 3 minutes. Why have you changed from 5 minutes to 3 minutes? Why aren't you allowing these neighbors, our neighbors, more than 3 minutes to allow them to tell their stories, their hardships, their daily hardships of shaking? I hear Veronica all the time. She calls me and says, what can I do? I say, call the city. Copy the city attorney, because believe it or not, there's something coming down the pike. I don't know what it's going to be. Once, like Susanna says, once the house starts shaking and the foundation is no longer valid, there's going to be some kind of, I don't know. You can use your imagination. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments, Ms. Leon. Next up, we have Leonard Mendoza.
Good evening, Commerce City Council. Okay, there we go. I'm here this evening again, like I came to the last council meeting. I was the mayor when this project passed, and my concern was if I don't show up, this council is known for blaming everybody but themselves. So I said, I'll put my face up there. Smiley, I'm coming after you right now. So I want to make sure that our residents know that these council members here are dropping the ball in everything that they're doing. I was made aware that the city went ahead and put some monitoring systems into the Modelo project. At that point, you have brought the responsibility, liability to the city, if that's true, what I was told. Again, when the project began, the developer, Adrian Comstock, met with each council member and asked us what we wanted for the project. And we were very specific about what we wanted this project to look like. And at the same time, we made sure that the number one concern was that the project would not move forward until every single resident was happy and gave the okay to proceed with the project. We had community meetings, everything was nice and dandy. Unfortunately, again, I didn't get reelected, or else these people here will not be getting away with what they're getting away with. In the last meeting, Adrian Comstock says, excuse me, Mayor, can you turn off the clock? Sure, Adrian, yeah. Well, he did 6 minutes. Again, it's sad to see that the city council, myself too, voted this project, and then when the residents have a concern, the response is, oh, it's a private project, or it's independently owned. BS. We voted this project, we brought the responsibility to the city, not only responsibility, liability. I want to be very, very, very clear. By bringing those monitoring systems into that project, you guys brought in the liability to the city. If anything happens to these people here, their kids, their pets, their homes, the city's liable. At this point, I give you a recommendation. Meet with Adrian Comstock, force him to solve every mitigated question, concern that the residents have. You don't want to get sued? Throw the lawsuit towards Adrian. There's gotta be, this is the beginning. You guys know me, when I get involved, I get emotional. I write notes like everybody else, but somehow my emotions get the best of me. Why? Because I put myself in their shoes. I was in your shoes, and I knew how to handle myself, how to get things done. That's why I had a successful mayorship. 7.6 surplus, balanced budget, employees got raises, part-timers, no layoffs, no furloughs, 1,200 trees planted throughout the city. I mean, I can go on and on and on. During a worldwide pandemic and a financial crisis. That's how you get things done. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Mendoza. That concludes our public comment. So now we will go ahead and move on to the consent calendar. We have items 4 through 7 on consent. Does any council member wish to pull any items?
Yes, I was going to pull item 7 before I came to public comment, so yes, item 7.
Okay, we'll pull item 7. Any other items? Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion for items 4 through 6.
I'll move.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Altamirano and a second by Councilwoman Rebollo. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, so we have item number 7. I believe that will be presented by our city manager.
Would you like a presentation or you have a question, ma'am?
I just have can you please clarify? I was looking at some of the bullet points. Hold on, let me just go to the page. Where it states, sorry. No, I think I have a copy. Can you just please clarify with the less revenue, how are we closing that gap in regards to spending the money that it's not going to be there?
So referring to the basically projected lower performance of sales tax revenues in the City of Commerce. So that is what we're projecting based on what we have so far. Our next quarter or next March, April date really kind of will tell us how far off we are, but this is a trend that's now happening in the state of California in all cities. Bell Gardens, who's also doing the tax measure, is having the same experience. So this is not specific to us, but like everything else, there's some revenues that are coming in higher, and then we are been taking some cost-saving measures in order to address this. So we've been holding on to some vacancies. We've been basically mitigating, programs as a whole to keep it less than the budgeted amount. The upcoming budget process will include a plan to address this, right? But it is what our projection is. Understand also that the quarterly reports have not been done in the past. This is something that the City Council implemented about a year ago for not only full transparency, but so that we all know and can address this issue on the forefront. But this is the trend that we have to address with the upcoming budget in the second year. We think will plateau. In other words, we've been scaling down, and this is happening ever since COVID. So ever since COVID, there was surprisingly a spike in sales tax revenue in the state of California, all cities and all organizations. And since then, it's been going down a little bit at a time. And so we'll know more by the next final quarter, but we do anticipate that we'll close in this amount. And so the upcoming budget will have a much lower projection in year 1. Okay.
Okay, so that's the projected shortfall, right? Just based on the trends, right? So, okay, any other questions, comments? This is a receive and file, so I don't think we need a motion to pass this through, so I think we can move on. Okay, so we'll move on to item number 8, which is a presentation and update from the Sheriff's Department of Public Safety in the City of Commerce. We have Sergeant Cortez coming up to present.
Good evening, Mayor, fellow council members. This presentation will be the statistics presentation, followed with some information. The good news is crime is reportedly down. Next slide. In the City of Commerce versus January, February, and March. April was a very good month in regards to statistics. I want to credit that to the citizens. Please continue to dial 911 for emergencies and East LA Dispatch at 323-264-4151 for all other matters. And residents and business members of the community, your courage and action to phone call police is evident in the statistics. The numbers are as follows: homicide 0, rape 0, aggravated assaults 4, which is felony assaults, and this is for the entire month of April. Robbery 1, It was an armed robbery, 1 for the whole month. Burglary, 9. 2 were residential, 7 were commercial. Theft, 55 thefts for the month of April, but that's still lower than both February and March. Mainly, it's going to be grand theft, which comes from a lot of the commercial businesses, which is the Commerce Center, the Citadel, and other local businesses. Petty theft, 17. And then auto thefts, significantly less, 9. Single digit, 9 for the whole month versus 22 in March, 17 in February, 24 in January. Significantly less for the month of April. Arson, 0. So the numbers do not always tell the whole story, so I'm going to share city personnel and community members have described to me over the past few weeks the following. We see the police cars more often, and we feel safer because of it. And I want to give credit to the City Public Safety Division, the sheriff's team deputies, and the sheriff's line deputies, which is the 24/7 units. And because of the combination between the police and the community, we basically can describe it in this saying that's pretty commonly known. The only thing evil men need is for a good man to do nothing. So I applaud again the community, the residents, business members for phone calling police and following the procedures that have been listed before. Next slide. For continued success, I'd like to recap again for both residents and business members. What they can do in addition to calling police is when the police actually arrive is to participate in the interview with the field deputy. Whether you're a victim or a witness, provide an active phone number. A lot of the problems that happens often with investigators is that they don't get a good phone number. That could be by accident, that could have been done intentional, but please give a good phone number. When you get that report memo, safeguard it and photo that pamphlet. It's going to contain both the tag number and report number. That's going to be needed for investigators to follow up, or for myself, who I offer to follow up for residents who don't feel or did not receive full service. I need that information to follow up on their case, on their matter. Second is answer the investigator's phone calls, and at times you might need to seek the investigator. It could be for many reasons, the volume of cases they handle, and sometimes just not getting back to the victim. If it's an urgent matter, call the station at the indicated number and request to speak with the Detective Bureau secretary or the supervisor, who's often a sergeant, and that person will be able to pull up the record of who is assigned to your case. An example of what you can say during that phone call is, please read me the detective's name before you forward my call to their phone line. So very important, as you're on the phone, get the name before they shoot you to the voicemail or to the actual phone call. If you get to speak with the detective at that time, make an appointment to either phone interview or meet with the investigator. Understand that at the time of your phone call, they might not have that window to get a formal interview from you, a complete interview. So appointments are always encouraged and often necessary. Soon, the Public Safety Division here in the City of Commerce will be able to facilitate the request of finding out the investigator. If it's a non-urgent matter, we're going to develop a card so that if you come in person or if a public safety officer comes out to your home, you can fill in that information that I mentioned before, the tag number, report number. It'll get back to me or one of my team deputies, and it may take up to 3 days, but we'll find out for you who is the investigator assigned to your case in a non-urgent matter. And in regards to court subpoenas, that sometimes is the final product to prosecute a suspect, to give your case worthiness, is for you to cooperate with the court system, interview with the deputy district attorney, and if need so, testify. Next slide. In the center of the slide, you see the public safety card, which was developed by Ms. Natalie Hernandez of the Public Safety Division. It's both in English and Spanish on the back. And again, it lists a step-by-step list of procedures to effectively request police services regarding non-emergent incidents in most circumstances. It also has how to follow up, how to receive follow-up information from an investigator, and also phrases to communicate with the East LA Sheriff's Dispatch for improved service. That's the actual phone operator that you'll be speaking with. But again, remember, in any emergency, dial 911. In other matters, dial the East LA Sheriff's Dispatch at, again, 323-264-4151. Please have that phone number saved on your phone as a favorite. You can list it under simply East LA Dispatch. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation, Sergeant. Does the City Council have any questions? No? All right, seeing none, thank you again for your presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to welcome Ms. Natalie Hernandez to the podium for a brief moment.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. If it's okay, as Anthony mentioned, he talked about the Traveling Vietnam Wall. If I can expand on it a little bit as well, that's okay. So as he mentioned, from May 22nd to the 26th, the city will be hosting America's Freedom Tribute and Traveling Wall. It is a tremendous honor for the city to host this tribute, as the city went through a competitive application and approval process. And I remember I was here in October speaking about it to City Council, and again, thankful for your support for it. Again, the wall will be located at Rosewood Park Baseball Field, and the wall spans 360 feet long. Throughout the weekend, several events and ceremonies will take place to honor our veterans, fallen heroes, and their families. Again, on Friday, May 22nd at 8 a.m., there will be a wall caravan. The wall will depart from the Commerce Casino and Hotel and travel along Tubeway to Telegraph Road, continuing to Washington Boulevard before arriving at Rosewood Park Baseball Field, where it will be assembled. Following the wall from its location at the hotel to Rosewood Park, it will be followed by public safety vehicles, LASD, LA County Fire, and any community members who wish to join the caravan as it makes its way to the park. City staff and volunteers will then assist with the construction of the wall, and the wall will remain open to the public 24 hours a day throughout the weekend. And those who wish to volunteer to set up the wall can meet at the Rosewood Baseball Field at 8:20 a.m. on Friday. And also throughout the weekend, docents who are both Vietnam veterans will be available to assist visitors in locating names of relatives and friends honored on the wall. And I actually got a call today from a Commerce Vietnam veteran who was so excited that the wall was coming because he's not able to go to DC. So he's sad though his friend passed away in the war. So now he can finally see his friend's name on the wall. So I got kind of choked up when he was telling me. So I think it's just such an honor to have it in the City of Commerce, because we will get veterans that aren't able to travel to DC, so they can definitely find their friends and relatives and anyone on the wall. And again, we'll have docents there who are Vietnam veterans, so I think that's amazing. We will also have veterans of community of East LA. They'll have a booth throughout the weekend to provide information and support to veterans. The wall will also be supervised 24 hours to ensure safe and a respectful experience for all visitors by Parks and Rec staff during the day and our public safety team overnight. Then later that day, a grand opening ceremony will take place in front of the wall and will be open for the public to attend. The ceremony will also include special remarks and the playing of taps in honor of those who have served and sacrificed. Invitation letters have been sent to all Commerce veterans participating in the military program, as well as the local American Legion post and partners such as LASD and LA County Fire. And we also posted on social media, and the local news station has also reached out to us and are planning to be present on Friday's event. Then on Saturday, May 23rd at 8 p.m., a candlelight ceremony will take place in front of the wall, featuring the reading of names of those included in the city military banner program, as well as I do want to honor city employees who are veterans, because we have several city employees, such as our own city manager and actually our sergeant too, who are veterans, and also those who have passed away. living and ensuring their service and sacrifice are acknowledged and remembered. And then taps will also be played. Then on Monday, on May 25th at 12:30 p.m., a farewell ceremony will take place. The community is welcome to gather in front of the wall to say their final goodbyes, as it will be deconstructed the following day. This final moment will provide an opportunity for reflection, gratitude, and remembrance for all those who visited and honor the names displayed. And the ceremony will also conclude with the playing of taps. And then on Tuesday, May 26th, at the City Council meeting, I would like to present a proclamation to the driver of the wall. He is coming from Texas and is actually a National Guard Sergeant veteran as well. So again, thank you for City Council for your support, City Manager, also Rebecca, who has been a huge help behind the scenes, Parks and Rec, Public Safety, and graphic staff. And then also, I would like to mention that this Wednesday, East LA Station is hosting a Tip a Cop event at the Ruby's Diner at the Citadel from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's an amazing cause because all proceeds from the tips will go to the Special Olympics, and the deputies and even sergeant will be serving as waiters, so hopefully everyone can join. And last but not least, I would like to introduce the newest addition to the Public Safety Division, Public Safety Manager Cassidy Roman, who would like to say a few words.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and City Council. First of all, I just want to thank the City of Commerce for giving me this opportunity to be part of the Commerce Public Safety. I've worked in public safety for 20 years of my life, so I've dedicated my life to service to the community. I'm glad to be here and be able to kind of show what I've done in my life and apply that to the City of Commerce. When it comes to public safety, to me, it's more than just responding to emergency calls for service. It's about building trust and ensuring that the residents, businesses, as well as the visitors that visit the City of Commerce feel safe and they feel heard. I think the most important part of any city is to build the quality of life for our residents. My goal is to do it through the public safety sector, to be able to respond to residents' complaints of maybe not feeling safe, and be able to address those issues head on and proactively. Again, I look forward to working with each and every one in the city, City Council, and our community members to try to ensure that the overall quality of life for our residents improves, and you know, it's an improvement every day. And working with our sheriff partners as well as our city staff, you know, I think with the role that our public safety staff does to alleviate call volume for our deputies, allows them to respond to the emergency calls for service, and it allows our public safety officers to take that extra moment to engage with our community and build relationships with them. So thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone.
Cassidy, thank you for coming up to the podium, and welcome aboard. I know we spoke earlier today, and I believe this is your second day, right, on the job?
It is my second day, yes.
Right, very exciting. So, you know, looking forward to just speaking with you and, you know, learning about what your vision, your strategy, and what you plan on implementing once you get your feet under you and you get acclimated. But very excited to have you on board, and looking forward to it.
I appreciate it, and I look forward to making you and all of the Commerce residents proud.
Great, thank you. And Natalie, great information on the traveling wall. And looking forward to Tip a Cop. It's going to a great cause, so kudos to you guys. Okay, so we will now move on to item number 9, which is the summer kickoff event augmentation, Cuddlepalooza, and All Abilities Color Fun Run.
Slide 1, please. Slide 1. Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor Lainez and Mayor Pro Tem Garcia, and members of the City Council. My name's Adolfo Marquez, Director of Parks and Recreation, and this evening, the City Council will consider adopting a resolution appropriating money from the Project Management Fund to support Pedalpalooza, this year's expansion of the summer kickoff and All Abilities Color Fun Run. The event is scheduled for June 6th from 9 a.m. till 12 noon around the Civic Center area. Next slide, please. The Pedalpalooza will provide the community with the opportunity to ride, roll, and cruise together around the Civic Center area in a safe and family-friendly environment. Residents are encouraged to bring their bikes, skateboards, rollerblades, skates, scooters, and of course, their safety gear. The All Abilities Color Fun Run and Walk will begin at 10:30 in the parking lot area adjacent to the basketball courts at Rosewood Park. Next slide, please. This year's theme, Fuel the Fun, Feel the Game, Goal, will also be incorporated throughout the Civic Center lawn area with soccer-themed activities and interactive play opportunities for families and youth. The event is designed to promote community engagement, outdoor recreation, and inclusive programming opportunities for all abilities and all ages. Let's take a moment to review the event map. Next slide, please. The street closures will include Harbor Street, Commerce Way, Gilson, and northbound on Eastern Avenue. DJ entertainment will be placed throughout the route as indicated on the map with a little DJ symbol, and we'll also have a DJ at the fairground attractions area to create an energetic and festive atmosphere. The All Abilities Color Fun Run and Walk route will take place within the highlighted parking lot area shown in pink. The fun and casual pickup pickleball games will be played on the basketball courts. The department is also partnering with the Aquatic Booster Club, which will host its annual pop-up vendor event. Vendors will be in the parking lot area near Harbor Street and also on Commerce Way. We have strategically placed vendors in two separate areas to help activate multiple locations throughout the event. That concludes my presentation, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you for that presentation, Director Marquez. Does the City Council have any questions or comments? Councilwoman Rebollo?
I just want to say I'm really excited. I think this is definitely a way to step up the tradition that we already have with the color run. I'm really excited to see the pedal run. And I do want to commend you for partnering with the Aquatics Booster. That swap meet really is a huge fundraising opportunity that they use, right? In reality, like all that, and just, I don't know, just in case my colleagues don't know, or members of the community, all the funds that they raise in the booster goes directly back to our athletes. And so not only for like, if an athlete can't get gear, or for the end of the year, little gifts that they give the athletes, but they also do college scholarships to booster member athletes. So the more money they raise, the bigger the scholarship these kids get for college. So I just really want to commend you for, thinking outside the box and, partnering with them to be able to be part of this event, because this will definitely bring more people, which means, right, the more they buy, or the more spaces that, people rent, like that's money going directly back to our kids. So thank you for doing that. I know that the Aquatic Booster will be very, very, very happy. And as a mom, right, and I know myself, I may not speak for all the moms, but thank you for doing that for our athletes, because I see it firsthand. Everything that booster raises goes directly back to our kids. And it's a beautiful thing. So I'm excited for this. I hope that the community comes out. And again, I just, when we think outside the box and when we're inclusive, that is so important. So I'm really happy to continue to see the inclusivity in bringing all of our community out, no matter what their abilities are. So, so it was just a general comment. Thank you.
And if I may, anybody who's interested in being a vendor, a specialty booth, and wants to help out, you can contact the Booster Club. It'll be on the flyer, or you can call our friendly staff at Parks and Rec, and we'll provide that information for you.
Great. Thank you for your comments there, Councilwoman, and thank you for that advertisement, Director Marquez. Any other questions or comments? You know, I think open streets events are great. You know, I've been to a couple, you know, just ciclavias, and while this isn't at that large of a scale, I think it's great that we're bringing something like this to Commerce. So I think should this go through tonight, let's just make sure to advertise it on all channels, you know, do a community pass out, really encourage people to come, because I think it's a good evolution of the summer kickoff. So with that said, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve this item per staff's recommendation. Okay, so we have a motion by myself and a second by Councilwoman Rebollo. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you, Adolfo.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we will go ahead and move on to item number 10, which is a public hearing item. It's the amendment to permanent local housing allocation program, reallocation of funds to rental assistance for veterans. And that will be presented by Director Jessica Serrano.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Jessica Serrano, your Community Development Director. The presentation will actually be made by Adriana Robledo with Avantgarde.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, City staff, and guests. My name is Adriana Robledo, representing Avantgarde. Before you tonight is a presentation regarding the Permanent Local Housing Allocation, or PLHA plan. Next slide, please. A bit of background regarding this particular item. The City of Commerce is an eligible recipient of $59,326 in grant funding under the Permanent Local Housing Allocation, or PLHA, which aims to increase affordable housing in California. On February 11th of 2025, the City Council approved a resolution to participate in the PLHA program and allocated the PLHA funds towards a housing rehabilitation program. Next slide, please. Some additional background on the 26-27 PLHA program year. As a reminder, the PLHA fund is funded by the State of California through the California Department of Housing and Community Development, also known as HCD, with a funding oversight and monitoring provided by the Los Angeles County Development Authority, or LACDA. Staff is recommending to reallocate the PLHA grant funds from the Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program to a Veterans Rental Assistance Program. Below you will see a breakdown for the program budget. The line items will be the entire funding of the $59,326 is rental assistance for veterans, with an allocation of $11,800 to Avantgarde to administer the program, bringing the total program total to $71,126. Next slide, please. The Veterans Rental Assistance Program will provide housing assistance for veterans experiencing or at risk of homelessness within the City of Commerce. The rental assistance will be available for up to 6 months with a maximum assistance of $1,500 per month. Payments are made directly to the landlord. We anticipate that we'll be able to serve 9 veteran households annually, assuming that we obtain additional funding. You see below you the household table. Applicants must have a household income at or below a 30% of area median income, which is known as AMI. Next slide, please. The recommendation before you is as follows. Firstly is to adopt the resolution that will approve an amendment to the city's permanent local housing allocation program for the housing rehabilitation program to the rental assistance program for veterans. It's going to reallocate this previously approved PLHA funds of $59,326 from the Housing Rehabilitation Program to the Veterans Program, the Veterans Rental Assistance Program, excuse me. It will authorize your city manager or his designee to develop and adopt policies and procedures for distributing these funds for qualified expenses, to create the eligible criteria for allowed expenses, to process applications, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to authorize the city manager or the designee to execute any necessary documents to implement the amendment. It will also authorize a one-time appropriation of $11,800 from the city's project management fund to support the program implementation and administration of this PLHA program. It will authorize the city manager to make any necessary amendments to an existing on-call agreement with Avantgarde to increase their budget and scope and terms for the implementation and administration of the amended PLHA program. And secondary, to take any necessary related action as deemed necessary. Next slide, please. One slide back, please. Thank you. In summary, you will authorize a one-time budget appropriation of $11,800. You will authorize the city manager to make any necessary amendments, and you'll take any necessary related action. Next slide, please. Mr. Mayor and honorable members of the City Council, I stand before you ready to take any questions.
Thank you for your presentation. Does the City Council have any questions?
I'm so sorry, I could not hear the question or comment.
I'm just happy. Thank you so much to have a program for veterans like this. This is nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you for those comments, Councilmember. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. I'm very happy to see a program like this too, but I'd just like to make sure our staff, we program guidelines that are not conflicting with the state and the federal, right? Will it conflict or?
So, may I, so I understand your issue, or the issue you bring up. It may be a potential problem, so when we establish the guidelines, I think we'll look for, to create any kind of boundaries related to jeopardizing any federal or state benefits such as Section 8 or some of the other programs that individuals get. We certainly don't want this temporary money, because it is temporary, to create an issue for that. So we'll make sure that our guidelines account for that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilwoman Rebollo.
I may have missed it as I walked out, but this is for Commerce residents only, correct?
That is correct.
So no other veterans from outside of Commerce can apply for this?
Specific to the city, it's veterans residing in the city of Commerce.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you for those questions. Just really quickly, I felt this was a good program to pilot. My wife works for Disabled American Veterans, and it feels like every few days she comes to me with a story that she hears, and I came to the realization that there are very vulnerable members of the veteran community. And so I've also spoken to some members of the community here in Commerce that have expressed, concerns with higher cost of living and, struggling to make ends meet. And so in working with the city manager and Director Serrano, we were looking for ways to support our veterans, right? What can we do? And Director Serrano came up with the idea of potentially reallocating some of the PLHA funds, which I thought was a great idea. So that's kind of the background on how we got here. So I think it's good. It's good to pilot. I think the Mayor Pro Tem does bring up a great point, right? We don't want to give the illusion that we're helping somebody and they end up getting harmed in the long term, right? Especially since this is a temporary program. So as long as we keep that in mind before the implementation of the program guidelines, I'll be willing to make the motion to approve this item. Well, actually, before I do that, I have to open the public hearing. So at this time, we will now open the public hearing. And at this time, I will entertain any public comments. Okay, so no public comments, so I will close the public hearing. And I will now make a motion to approve item number 10 for staff's recommendation. And then I believe we have a second by Mayor Pro Tem Garcia. Because this is a public hearing, interim city clerk, could you please conduct a roll call?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Altamirano?
Yes.
Councilmember Argumedo?
Yes.
Councilmember Rebollo?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Lainez?
Yes, motion passes. And now we will go ahead and move on to city council reports. Last time I started to my right, so this time I will start to my left with Councilwoman Rebollo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to wish everybody every mother a belated Happy Mother's Day. Also congratulate our teams, our sports teams this past weekend that competed locally in San Diego and Las Vegas. To our unplugged kids, I unfortunately was not able to watch the play live, but I did watch videos, and I'm so bummed that I missed such great performances. So I'm sure that whoever went to watch it live got a way better view than I did. And then lastly, I don't usually do this, but I'm fighting with myself, but I'm just going to say it. I just wanted to make a comment as it related to we had a previous council member that just came up to speak, right, and really just came up, said some negative things about our mayor, about my colleagues, about myself. And I fought with myself because I didn't want to engage in this kind of pettiness, but I think that it's, I would be remiss if I just stay quiet and allow anybody to attack my mayor and my colleagues, especially when something that this council member forgot to mention, that, yeah, well, he was the mayor or whatever he did, right? But he also forgot to mention the shame and the embarrassment that he brought to this community. And so to now come up and try to shame us for doing the work that we're doing, I can't sit here and stay quiet about it, right? So I know that while we are not perfect as a city council, we have been working really hard for this community. My colleagues and I, obviously one person doesn't do it alone. And for anybody who has shamed the city and has done such bad things for the city to come up here and try to say that we're not doing a good job is laughable. And it's embarrassing for himself, So if someone's gonna come up and, try to toot their own horn about things that they did as a mayor and as a council member, right? He should also remind the community of all the negative things that he did, and make sure, right, that you're not throwing stones at glass houses. So again, I apologize. I don't normally do this, but I can't sit here and just pretend like this person is saying anything of substance. We have a record of the work that we've been doing together for the last 2 years, 2 years of just movement and transformation that the city is coming on under the direction of not just my colleagues, but with our new city manager. So I just really wanted to be transparent about that. And if he wants to, stand there and talk about he's speaking from emotions, oh man, so am I. Because I won't allow anybody to come and anybody like him to come and attack the mayor and try to tell him how to lead. And Mayor, I really hope that you don't take his advice and you don't lead the way that he did, because when he was leading or when he was on the city council, right, we got kicked out of an association, which now I worked really hard to make sure that we're brought back into because of the shenanigans that he did. So much so, right, that not only last year was I invited to be on the executive board, I now, at our last meeting, was elected to serve on the primary board as the new treasurer of Contract Cities. So if we're gonna come up here and attack us, then let's spit some facts out there and make sure that you're not throwing stones at glass houses. With that, have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for your comments there, Councilwoman Rebollo. I think it's safe to say that the gentleman you're referring to was an absolute disaster as a public representative. Right? So, okay, we'll move on to my right now with Councilmember Altamirano.
Really quick, I got to attend the preschool, graduation? That was really cool. It's always just seeing the kids graduate. Some get very nervous, and it just takes me back when I was a kid and I graduated at Veterans they had the graduation at Veterans Park, and I was a little nervous looking for my parents and stuff. So it's cute to see the kids, some are shy, some are pretty excited, like they're promoters, right? And make the crowd, the audience laugh and stuff. And Adolfo and your crew always putting on a good show. So thank you for that. But I feel bad for the veterans, residents that are having a difficult time right now. So I really want just to keep an eye on it and see how we could be supportive. To hear those kind of stories, it's not good. I remember they knocked down the Bank of the West building, that 10-story building. I literally live, I think it was like 100 feet away. So we faced a lot of dust in that area, a lot of noise, and it's not pleasant. So I get what they're talking about, and so I really just want to keep an eye on it and make sure that we accommodate and listen to what they're saying. But also at the same time, to have two former electeds to kind of ride on anger and problems. That's normally what they do. I mean, if somebody was complaining about too many butterflies in City Commerce, trust me, they'll be here to complain about that. But anyways, I'll give it over to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Councilman. Councilmember Argumedo.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the comments that were just made related to that topic. As you know, I generally I don't like to engage in that kind of activity. To me, it's kind of you're basically lowering yourself to the gutter, basically, when you engage. But at some points, you do need to respond, and I appreciate your comments, Councilmember Rebollo, because I think you're absolutely correct. I believe the individual has been nothing but divisive as an elected official, and continues to be very divisive. He will try to latch on to maybe an issue that we're having in the community, and try to position himself as one of the helpers of that effort. But the reality is, I believe that, look, he had his opportunity to shine and to show this community, what he could do, and he chose to do otherwise. You know what? I don't think this community has forgotten or will forget in the future. But anyways, let me move on and report on the first of all, the Modelo project. I didn't comment earlier, and I wanted to just have a sidebar on this. We need to have some dialogue, because at the last meeting we had a presentation, and Adrian was here, and also the representatives that spoke today were here, and everything seemed to be moving in a positive direction. They were working together. So something absolutely has gone right here, and we absolutely need to make sure that we hold Adrian Comstock to a higher standard. He's delayed this project for many years. I've been a big advocate of trying to make sure that we move forward with this project, and also holding him accountable. And we should not allow that to move forward without making sure that the concerns and issues that have been raised do move. He addresses them, and he needs to come up with some mitigating measures. And I believe there's been some communication, and he has indicated that he's offered housing for some of them to stay at a hotel. That was part of, I believe, that he had offered to some of those individuals. So I'd like to set up a meeting so that we can actually get an update where we're at, what's taking place, and if necessary, we need to definitely put a temporary hold on this until we do address some of these issues, and we make sure that we heard all of the complaints. They're noted. We have tape on that, and we should go and go through those and make sure that each of those issues and concerns are addressed. So I definitely would like to see what we do with that, Mr. City Manager, and please let us know, report back, and give us an update with regards to that. Preschool graduation, my apologies, Parks and Recreation and all of us, our city folks who had the graduation. I'm sure I missed out on a wonderful graduation. Sorry, my apologies. Me and our family were in the process of adopting 2 pets. And we successfully adopted 2 Labrador retrievers, and it was quite a interesting experience there. I mean, we didn't realize we did adopt them, and the kids were adapting to the whole new environment, and we thought it was going to be great, and it was. My little one actually was waking up with me at 6 in the morning, and he wanted to go walking them, and he wanted to feed them. And it was great, but unfortunately, he had allergies, and they kicked in. And so I had to contact the owner, great owner. I mean, really a good pet, individual. And he told me, he says, hey, if things don't work out, please call me. I don't want you to get rid of them. Call me and I'll take them back. So anyways, with that, we did. We contacted him, said, look, it's great, but unfortunately, because of the reaction our son has, we can't move forward, And he came over immediately, and it was good. It was great. Unfortunately, my son didn't take it too good. But anyways, we'll move forward with that. But also this morning, on another positive note, I think that we had a press conference with the impacts of the new regulations by the Attorney General, Rob Bonta, who, we went over some of the impacts. We had some of the other members of the other cities who were here present, who also made really outstanding comments related to the impacts, and we're asking the Attorney General to reconsider the regulations that will be affecting not only the Cart Club here in our city, but surrounding cities, Bell Gardens, Hawaiian Gardens, Compton, and our city, and other car clubs in the state of California, and it'll have a very negative impact. As you know, it could potentially affect us by between $8 to $18 million. We don't know the exact amount until if and when these regulations will be actually applied. But it's very important that we get the word out. And also, obviously, the measure that's on the ballot, for June 2nd. It's very important that we move forward, and we hopefully, I hope the community is willing to pass that measure, because I believe it's just additional resources that the city needs to secure the different programs and services that our community has come to enjoy for so many years. And hopefully they'll understand that measure will generate estimated to generate about $4.5 million annually, and I just think it's an important measure for us to get behind. So again, thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate your comments also this morning related to that. I think they were well received by everybody in attendance. Thanks all our staff that was there as well. Thank you guys. You guys are great. Thank you for the support for the event. Thank you.
Thank you for your report, Councilman, and thank you for being there this morning as well and for your comments. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. I too agree with my colleagues. It's unfortunate to hear negative comments about us. We work really hard as a team to move our city forward, and we will continue to do that. I would like to also report, I attended the Children's Benefit Dinner. That was a wonderful event. Its main focus was mental health, and we all know that's very severe. They help the families and children with stressors of life, helping them realize their abilities through compassion and guidance. So I was really glad to attend and be a part of that fundraiser. I'm very excited to see this wall come to the City of Commerce. I worked really hard with my colleagues to get this wall here, and it serves as a symbol of honor, remembrance, and unity for generations to come. So please mark your calendars and attend May the 22nd to the 26th. Also, I'd like to say one more thing before we turn it over to you, Mayor. I'm incredibly proud that I have led the initiative to designate the City of Commerce as a Purple Heart City. Right? Just want to make sure. All right, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mayor Pro Tem. Really quick comments today. On April 30th, I attended the Big Four Summit, which is the multi-jurisdictional coalition that we have with the cities of Industry, Vernon, and Santa Fe Springs. And so that was a summit where we met with several different business leaders just to talk about job creation opportunities and bringing more revenue into the City of Commerce. I want to thank our city manager who attended the event, as well as our Director of Community Development, Jessica Serrano, and Giselle Delgado, as well, our Senior Management Analyst. Later that morning, we had Student Leadership Day, which is a great partnership that we have with the Montebello Unified School District. So I want to thank all city staff who took some of our Montebello Unified students under their wings and walked them through the different channels of a civic organization or a municipal organization. In speaking to some of the kids, I think they really appreciated the level of engagement from our team members, but they also appreciated the information. Not a lot of people recognize at that age all of the different career opportunities that exist in the municipal space, right? You know, when I was their age, I didn't know what a director of public works was or a director of parks and recreation. So exposing our youth to those opportunities is something that's really, really important. So thanks to everybody who participated. I also want to thank the Montebello Unified School Board President, Liliana Magana, who really spearheads this event each and every year, along with her colleagues and her staff. The next thing I wanted to call out here is that I attended the preschool graduation on May 2nd at Bell Gardens Intermediate. Different venue, right, than what we're accustomed to, but I thought the team did a phenomenal job. So I want to thank the Director of Parks and Recreation and your team, as well as Brenda Diaz and everybody else who have had a hand in creating that Zootopia space for everybody to enjoy. Such a great event, right? From the Pledge of Allegiance to, you know, just the invocations and just all of the different energy that each of the children bring as they receive their diplomas, right, for the graduation. So I want to thank my colleagues who were there and supported the event. And I know there were others who could not make it, but you were missed for sure. On May 8th, I attended the library's book launch of Commerce Now, which is an anthology of different interviews and stories from members of our community. We have volunteers, commissioners, former council members, really just a great project that was put together by the City of Commerce Public Library. Great book, great event. Everybody was really happy to receive their copy of Commerce Now at that event. And also they were really, I felt they were really redeemed and satisfied to see themselves in print, right? So really exciting. I don't know if we have any more copies at the library. If we do, I'm seeing a nod. So if you're interested, I would go to the library and check it out. It's really a great series of interviews. Some really great stories there. One that stood out to me was former Mayor Artemio Navarro, who talked about the importance of 5 minutes and really just about the incorporation of our city and how, you know, a group of residents, right, a group of community leaders just stepped in and acted and submitted the paperwork, right, to the county to annex the City of Commerce. And you know, we got our paperwork in 5 minutes before the City of Downey, and as a result, we now have our own city, the City of Commerce. So great story, and there's countless others like that in that book, so I recommend that you guys all check it out.
That's a good picture of you, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And then that's the weekend before, I attended Unplugged Junior's production of Wizard of Oz. I thought it was a wonderful production put forth by the Unplugged Juniors group. You know, big shout out and kudos to our performing arts specialist, Sarah Fenton, as well as Nairi Rodriguez and Abigail Rosas for really just corralling all of the little juniors and getting them to put together a top tier production. I enjoyed it. I think I saw it like 6 times that week. It was really good. It was really good. It was that good. Right? With that said, I do want to adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of Jaime Garza, Jaime Garza was a very active member of our senior community, and he was also a member of the Commerce softball team that we had several years ago. He recently passed, and so I just want to offer my deepest condolences and sympathies to his family on behalf of myself and the City Council. So with that said, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.